Britain's exit from the European Union also sparking fears of compromised global security. Officials are warning that the exit complicates Britain's role as the primary security provider of Europe and affects the fight against terror. Joining me now to weigh in is General Jack Keane, a retired four-star general and Fox News military analyst. General, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria.
What do you think the national security ramifications are?
Well, I disagree with many of my colleagues who believe that NATO is going to be weakened by this. Britain is the number 2 power in NATO. Unless their economy tanks as a result of this and reduces military capabilities, it should not impact NATO. Where security, I do believe, is affected, if this is the beginning of the crumbling of the European Union, similar to what took place with the Soviet Union in 1991, the Russians are obviously celebrating a little bit now. They will be triumphant if that takes place, and that will certainly encourage the aggressiveness and assertiveness of Putin, who already has designs on the Baltics and Eastern Europe and is willing to challenge NATO over that at some point, in my judgment.
And do you think this is the beginning of an unwinding of the EU? I mean, that's really the conversation right now, whether or not we're going to see, like, the Netherlands or France or Scotland vote to get out of the EU.
Well, it seems to me they're putting in place a process, at least, to have those similar kind of referendums, and I don't have the knowledge to know where those countries are on this. As it may be just as unpredictable as it was dealing with the UK vote, where most people didn't know for sure what was going to take place.
All right. So in terms of Britain's exit, you don't think NATO is weakened, but does it complicate the fight against ISIS, for example? How do we work together in the face of the threats that we all see, in particular ISIS, and despite this?
Well, the EU, as an organization, is not a security organization. It is an economic and political entity, as we all know. But they've tried to do security, and they don't do it very well. The reality is that when al-Qaeda attacked the United States, we were a NATO country. NATO invoked Article 5, which is, if one country is attacked, it's an attack on all the countries, and then all of NATO is at war with that organization. We have had 4 NATO countries attacked by ISIS: Belgium, France, Turkey, and the United States. And we should be invoking Article 5, and that should be the security apparatus that is the base to deal with ISIS and share intelligence together, because it is a military alliance at the end of the day, and it understands security and it understands intelligence. When we're using the EU as an apparatus, it has never worked very well.
Yeah. Let me ask you, General, about this story over the weekend that we learned that the Obama administration is using its executive authority to exempt immigrants seeking citizenship from a key part of the oath of allegiance, which means that they no longer have to pledge to bear arms on behalf of the U.S. Does President Obama have a duty to answer on this? I mean, people didn't even realize this was happening, but very quietly he's removed that from the oath of allegiance.
Yeah, that was stunning to me. I certainly had no knowledge of it. Yeah, this is something that Congress really has to take up. Now, I think, first of all, it's just dead wrong to take something like that out of an oath that's been a part of it for many, many years. And I think immigrants are proud to make that statement. They're not afraid of it. They're proud to be Americans and contribute to American life and be willing to defend it. Now, listen, the people shouldn't have any concern here. I mean, if we need to go to national conscription because we need that many people to defend the treasures and the security of the United States, that is what will drive military service, not that particular oath. But I do think it's a mistake to take that out of it.
Yeah, it really resonated with me because I know, my ancestors signed the oath of allegiance, and, people were proud to do it. You wanted to have a full oath of allegiance to America when you wanted to become a citizen. And now that's really changed. Look, the House Select Committee on Benghazi sent a list of questions, General, regarding the Benghazi attack to the president, and the White House urging the president not to answer because it is a partisan attempt to frame the White House. What should he do as commander-in-chief on that score?
Answer the questions of the Congress. The Congress is the people's house. They're representing the people of the United States who still want to know what took place. I do believe the work that the Select Committee has done is not a political hack job, as many would suggest. I do think that they are honestly trying to get the bottom of the situation, and there's been a lot of obfuscation here created, as we all know, and they should get to the bottom of it. And being the president was such a player in it, I think he would be able to shed an awful lot of light on the situation if he'd be willing to answer those questions. And he shouldn't be intimidated by the legislative body asking the executive branch some questions about a situation where Americans were killed, and we already know for a fact that security was not what it should be that night.
You would think that he would want to address this so that the American people would understand the facts. General, good to have you on the program this morning, as always. Thank you.
Good talking to you, Maria.
We'll see you soon. General Jack Keane there. Coming up.